All right. Uh, yeah, Rashi Rice, very clearly my highest exposed player. I mentioned yesterday that this is a guy I'm worried could kind of ruin tournaments like the marathon, or if you're playing over on the other sites, just the season long scoring stuff because his ADP was like people were getting him in the 90s in the marathon. And even though it's not that many teams, it's just, in the playoff formats in BBM, I mentioned it's tough to take Rashi Rice. But in formats like the merit, like, okay, so in BBM, at least there's a playoff variance with the pods, right? You're not competing against every other Rashi Rice team. But in tournaments like the marathon, I'm going to see if I can fire one real quick. If not, I'll just do BBM. You're directly competing against those teams that got Rashi Rice in like the 10th round, ninth round. So save the marathon for another day. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to fill 6 people. So we'll just do a BBM. I still think it's okay to draft Rashi Rice and BBM. And I'm talking about him so much because I think he's really good. I'm super high on him. You guys see he's my highest exposed player. And I don't know. I kind of think that he can ruin some of these tournaments, just making it really hard to compete with those teams that got him at such crazy value. Now, it's like, let's say you're taking Rashi Rice around pick 45 where he's going versus the teams that took him at 90. You're trading maybe you're like Amari Cooper's, your George Pickens picks for, I don't know, like a Tony Pollard type, which could work out. But then those Rashi Rice teams that got Rashi Rice at 90 also got Pollard at 100. So I don't know. It's tough. I think you can still do stuff, though. Just be a little bit more unique, like with the combo stuff. This is where the combo stuff really applies more, I think, when you're trying to integrate players like that when you already missed a ton of value on them. Trying to see if there's really not that much news that came out from this past season or from this past week. I'm sorry, a preseason. Mentioned yesterday, Jets was in here talking about Ray Davis. I mentioned I think he's fine. Hadn't been taking him too much. I was worried if he was actually even going to make the team, but looks like he's going to make the team, so I can start adding him in now. I don't expect his ADP to rise too much. Man, I've been running so poorly with my pick distribution. I was running so hot getting top 4 picks, and now everything is just bottom half. I think I drafted AJ Brown like 11 times yesterday. We got half the room non-Badgers though, so maybe something weird happens. Seems like it could be a good one. Um, so we could take a closer look at my exposures while we're waiting. Just some of the guys that I really want to focus on drafting this week. So all my draft, like I have the one BBM I did on stream yesterday, but so I did 50 puppy 3 drafts in the last few days, and like these are the guys that I guess I'm drafting the most right now. And I mentioned Rashi Rice. I'm just going to keep hammering him in the time books contest because we don't have to worry about people having him with crazy ADPs. Mostert, I don't know. It's just if Devin A Chain's going to run routes on the outside, we already know that the rushing volume is going to Raheem. Like we don't know, but we're pretty sure it is based on preseason usage stuff we saw last year. Coach comments. This is Raheem's backfield, so I think he's one of the better values. Especially, I kind of feel like we lost Jalen Warren. I mean, I have 16%, so I'm getting him past ADP every time though. He's usually the last running back left in that group, where before he was usually never the last running back left in that group. Want to try and get more Najee Harris, but he is going a bit earlier. He's one of the guys who's up in ADP. Like they did not have a 10 ADP difference a few days ago, but I don't think it doesn't sound like Jalen Warren's going to be ready for week 1. So Najee a little bit more valuable. I still think we want to draft Jalen Warren because who cares if he's out for week 1? We care about him being back for the playoffs, which he should be. Zeke, trying not to take Zeke anymore, but he's falling, and I think he's their starting running back. So I mean, ADP 130 could be a disaster, but could be fine. Love James Conner, love Tony Pollard, Dave Montgomery. I'm trying to draft more, but his ADP is moving up too. Devin Singletary, I mentioned yesterday. This is no one going after him is going to touch the football more. Zach Moss, hope he starts. And Khalil Herbert, my new favorite 0 RB target. He's going pretty late. He's moving up, but I mean, he could start for the Bears at the very least. Get a good portion of the work. I think the real hope is that he just goes to another team, though. They took AJ Brown. We're gonna go with Brees Hall. I think so. I mentioned yesterday I kind of want to fade Jamar Chase a little bit. I kind of want to fade Bijan a little bit. I think those are the two first rounders I'd like to be under. Like you saw, I was pretty even on them, but I'm gonna take Brees over Bijan basically every time going forward. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna take AJ Brown over Bijan every time. But if it came down to like between Bijan, Garrett Wilson, Puka, Marvin Harrison, I'll probably still take Bijan then because that means I'm getting him around pick 9, which is fine. Puka's a little scary, but I like him so much more than Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison. I've been getting. I think I got Jahmyr Gibbs at like pick 21 as the latest that I got him. You can always get him in like 15 to 17 range, so not really going to take him in ADP just because I feel like he's still going to continue to fall. Could resume practicing Sunday. I don't know. The field kind of lags behind on news, and with the number of drafts I'm doing right now, like every day, I just feel like I can get pretty good value if I don't take Jahmyr Gibbs at ADP. Completely fading Saquon. I meant to turn my percentages off. Uh, well, I'll leave them up. You don't really need to know what they are specifically. It's just this is how much I have in the tournament total is the first number, or I guess overall an underdog. And then first four at the position. So my percentages of my first four running backs. I have no teams with Jameer and Brees Hall, so it's a pretty interesting one. I could do this because I have combos with like every other player. That's this number here. I could go for this. What I was talking about doing, like kind of unique stuff. This was a hard team. Like this was a hard combo to get. Jahmyr Gibbs was never really falling past pick 14, 15. And so it's like, I don't know if I can take Rashi Rice at 41, but this is one of the spots where I think it's fine to do it because you have a unique start or what should be a unique start for the time period when Rashi was going really late. So we'll see. Drake London, Chris Olave. Chris Olave is a fade for me. Drake London, I came around on, but yeah, I used to trash on Nico Collins, but he is like easily my favorite second round pick now. Like Debo. Trying to add more A Chain, kind of light on A Chain. Like I mentioned, liking Raheem Mostert. I don't think that takes away from liking Devin A Chain if he's going to run routes, even if he's carrying the ball less. The point is, they're going to find ways to put the ball in his hands. I'm like soft fading Jalen Waddle. I'd rather take the guys like Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Brandon Ayuk over Jalen Waddle, but the ceiling case for Jalen Waddle is pretty good. He left so many games last season because of injury, came back, and his stats are kind of skewed because of it. And obviously, we're missing out on points when he's not playing, but if he plays every game, doesn't get hurt, Tyreek misses a couple games, it's a pretty good spot to be the number one wide receiver in Miami, especially when you're as talented as he is. Make sure we have no celebrities in the draft today. Don't recognize any names. CD Lamb at number one. It's crazy, dude. I mentioned this yesterday. I wish they put like Q tags and out tags on Underdog because it would be so fun to get these falling values. Like if you're drafting on other sites where they do have the out tags and Q tags, I saw CD Lamb go at 7 yesterday, dude. Like it's Christian McCaffrey is clearly the 1-1 on every site now. Tyreek is like clearly the 2, and CD Lamb is clearly the 3. But I'm still gonna click CD Lamb. I guess there's some worry the longer the holdout goes on, but it's like if it was any other owner, I wouldn't be as concerned. But Jerry Jones, we know this guy just is such a cheapskate. Like, dude, pay your guy. He's best player in the NFL. I actually didn't realize Jamar Chase was holding out either until a couple days ago. I don't know why no one's talking about it. He hasn't practiced in like a month or something. And I already mentioned I was fading him, but that just makes me a little bit more worried. Again, I expect him to play week 1, but it's kind of interesting that I really hadn't heard too much about Jamar Chase's situation. Let's see. All right, so today he's still not practicing, but he's there. He's showing up at least, so that's good. Holden. All right, I guess stuff came out today. I can't really watch the video right now. Apparently, Tyreek's dealing with a hand injury. So, top 4 picks, man. It's kind of scary. Go with DJ Moore here. Pretty happy that I don't really have many combos of this start. Well, I guess I don't have this combo at all, but I don't have that many teams with DJ Moore and Brees Hall, and then I have even less with DJ Moore and Jameer Gibbs. Love DJ Moore. Has the playoff correlation with Gibbs. We're gonna go for it. Went with the untraditional RB start. This might be my only RB start in BBM so far. I don't think I've taken that many running backs at all in the first 3 rounds in BBM. Like Christian McCaffrey, sure. Probably like I had a couple shares of Brees and Bijan maybe, but maybe I was taking Jameer Gibbs at the turn here. Yeah, I just have to hammer wide receiver. Like this is a team where Rashi Rice could help. Helps me catch up at receiver. I mean, at 41, but like what of these receivers is going to outscore Rashi Rice? And I only have 11% with Jameer Gibbs, so it's a good excuse to take him. I have a ton of Rashi with my Brees Hall, ton of Rashi with DJ Moore, of course. Yep, Mari Cooper, one of my favorite guys. T. Higgins, another receiver. I hadn't been taking that much, so it's incentive for me to mix him in now. Pretty sure we're gonna get Rashi here. The number of times a pick before me's taken Rashi Rice, though, could probably have like another 5%. What are you gonna do? SWHWC Lamar? Makes sense. You had Zay Flowers. I mean, dude, I talked about. I don't know if this is good or bad, but with this unique start, this is one of the times he's the best pick. I want to build the best team I can. I think he's the best pick available right now. Low A dot, just get like 10 targets a game and a touchdown, and we're good. Not sure what to do with the elite tight ends lately. This guy took Dalton Kincaid early. I've seen Dalton Kincaid fall to like pick 60, and I don't like him that much to take him as a first tight end off the board. I'm pretty sure I'm kind of low on Dalton Kincaid overall. Uh, Curtis Samuel has turf toe, which is not good. It's not good for a guy that's supposed to run fast. So Khalil Shakir, been talking about him. I've had it in my mind that he is the best. I don't know, the best option to draft. I guess I don't want to say the best wide receiver, but at ADP, I think he's the best value receiver on the Bills. And I'm just going to continue to take a bunch of Khalil Shakir. I kind of question the absolute ceiling, putting up like 24, 25-point games. But he had enough games in like the high to mid teens where that's a great score to contribute weekly. Uh, and with where he's going, we don't have to depend on him. Most of the time, we shouldn't have to depend on him to contribute that 20 plus to our finals team. Maybe if he helps us out in some of the playoff weeks and if he helps us advance, that's great. But either way, if he's Josh Allen's number one target, he's the only receiver there expected to play that has that chemistry, that history with Josh Allen. So, like taking Shakir. And getting back to Ray Davis again, because James Cook's about to go off the board. I'm kind of fading James Cook. I have 5%. And I was fading Ray Davis, not taking too much of the Bills receivers outside of Khalil Shakir. It's like, do I just think the Bills aren't going to score points this season? There should be somewhere in their offense, if I'm fading the running part, like their running backs, I should either be more in on Josh Allen, thinking he's going to take those rushing touchdowns, or maybe I think the passing, they're going to just pass more. So I should be in on the other receivers. But I don't think it makes sense to fade a team this good, expected to score this many points. And so, really, this applies to other teams too. But just, I'm really low on the Bills. 7% Josh Allen, sure. 3% Kincaid, 5 James Cook, 1 Keon Coleman, which I'm very comfortable continuing to fade him. Curtis Samuel, 5%. He's fallen a little bit, but turf toe is, like I said, it's kind of a big deal. Khalil Shakir, 11%. He's going to continue to rise. I think he's great to click on. Like this would be a good team to get him on. Pretty good playoff correlation with the running backs. Good game script for Khalil Shakir. Ray Davis 3%, Dawson Knox 3%. I don't hate the idea of adding Matt Collins in the last round. I had Ty Johnson in the big board pre-draft, so I don't know. Just I don't think you should be fading a whole team like this. Like I'm kind of fading the Bengals a little bit now that I mentioned that. I'm gonna go Terry McLaurin. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of fading the Bengals whole offense. I'm taking a bunch of Zach Moss, so that kind of makes up for it, I guess. And then I'm just I'd mentioned Terry McLaurin on stream yesterday. I think he's in such a good spot. Could be one of the best quarterbacks he's played with. First read option, run first quarterback. He's the only wide receiver that I care about drafting, and so very, very happy to get Terry McLaurin at 56, especially with this start. Could be like, Terry went at 41 a couple months ago. Rashi Rice went at 65. Now we're only giving up one round of value. That makes sense. Bills with the worst possible matchup in the finals. Fading is a good move. That's a good point, too. Yeah, that's a really good point because it's like, okay, the Bills might help me get to the playoffs, but if they're dead when they get, not dead, but if their expected points is much lower in the finals, yeah, I like it. Good point. That's a really good point, too. Yeah. It's a really tough week 17 matchup. Well, here I need week 17, at least the Jets to stomp the Bills. So Brees Hall puts up 30 plus. Yeah, we're gonna have to hit another receiver if we can. I get in this spot. I love this range right here because a lot of the time I'll have a debate between Kittle, Montgomery, and then James Conner just went off the board, I think. But between those three guys, I think they're all great picks, and I love all of them. I guess it just depends on the roster. Like I would never take Dave Montgomery on Jameer Gibbs notwithstanding. I would never take Joe Mixon or Rashad White on this team unless they fell like 10 or 12 spots, but never take them over any of these receivers. The Keenan Allen fall is interesting. Chris mentioned it in our staff chat earlier too. This guy's falling in every single draft I'm doing. All right, so he's fat. Who cares? James Harden was balling when he was fat, dude. Triple doubles all season, and the talent that this guy has, like Roma Dunze is going to flip Keenan Allen in the next couple weeks, and I don't think it's correct. I think Roma Dunze is fine. The field's probably been undervaluing him. Me too. I mean, I'm at 7%. I'm happy with that. 17% Keenan though. Just what Keenan did last year. I don't know. I'm going to be pretty heavy on Keenan Allen still, especially when he's falling. I'm going to end up with 20% plus. I might just take him on this team, even though I already have DJ Moore. Like, dude, this dude took Roma Dunze over Keenan Allen. This guy averaged 21 in full PPR last year. He said he wants to keep playing until he's 50 or whatever. It's Keenan Allen or Deontay Johnson. Like, I kind of like Deontay. Thinking about what Bryce Young did with Adam Thielen in the beginning of last season, is that, like, I don't know that Deontay's running those same routes. I haven't looked into that at all. But if Deontay's the number one option for Bryce Young, and I don't think Bryce Young completely, like, I have to hope he's going to be better than last year anyway. But Deontay Johnson, this guy like fluctuated throughout the offseason, but I think where he's at right now is a pretty good value, especially if you're behind at wide receiver. Christian Watson, Brian Thomas, like these are very strong. This is a really strong range of the draft. It's kind of like these guys feel like slight values to me, where maybe rounds 4 and 5, everyone feels slightly too expensive. Fading Kyle Pitts pretty hard, but I don't know. I saw him not catch a pass in practice, so defense made a play on that one. That wasn't just Kyle Pitts not catching the football. Oh, James Conner is still there. Nice. I don't need him on this team though. Like this team, these two guys are going to fill in the running back every single week. We're going to take like, I'd like to get a third guy, maybe like a Brian Robinson Jr. type, Tony Pollard, and then just maybe like a Bucky Irving, Khalil Herbert to round out the running back room. We'll stop at 5 if I get a third starter. And I like doing this third starter thing, especially when we're getting beat. Dude, why are we getting Tony Pollard to pick 100? Or guys like Tony Pollard around pick 100? These guys start. And from my weekly winners research, you'd be surprised how often the running back fills in the flex as like the top the top lineups every week in weekly winners. 60% of the time they had running backs in the flex. Wide receivers were there 30, tight ends 10. But the point is, like, the best scoring teams on a week to week basis lean towards running back in the flex. And so that definitely applies for full season. So, like I mentioned this before, I think, and it might not be a leak, maybe it's correct, but I think I would go a little bit too strong at running back typically. And here today, I'm going to try not to go too strong, just going to get 3 starters and 2 punts. But yeah, don't mind the idea of planning for your running back to fill in the flex. The problem is it's harder to win in the playoff weeks, I think. Like I just mentioned, on a week to week basis, running back's going to fill in the flex, but just it's what, 4 sample size. There's been 4 week 17 since Best Ball Mania started. I think Best Ball Mania 1 was like running back when Justin Herzig won. Let's see. I don't like any of these wide receivers. Alvin Kamara. I don't want to give up too much value by reaching for Raheem Mostert here at 80. And we're getting some value on Kamara. We'll take Kamara here. That's fine. So super duper strong at running back. I don't know, this might be like, because I still don't hate the idea of adding Tony Pollard to this team, even though I don't have a quarterback, I don't have a tight end, and my wide receiver room is iffy at best. I mean, there's just no receivers in this range I want to hammer. Like DeAndre Hopkins is definitely a value now going at wide receiver 49. What are we doing? He's expected to be ready for week 1. His ADP should be jumping up, but it never will rise as fast as it fell. So DeAndre Hopkins, 6 picks away of what, pick 89? We might just take DeAndre. Lad McConkey, 0%. Shout out to me. I think I did take him once in a puppy. So I have $5 invested in Lad McConkey. Fading Evan Engram, and I'm not sure about it. I just feel like Njoku 20 picks later is the same bet. Evan Engram was great, but guys were off the field when he had that huge target share. Does he maintain that huge target share with the arrival of Brian Thomas? Hopefully Christian Kirk stays healthy. Gabe Davis is hopefully going to be the air yard king this year. The reason I'm so in on Gabe Davis is because Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley left infinite air yards on the field last year in the last few games when Christian Kirk was out. Guys had like both of them had games where they each had 200 plus air yards and like 50 actual yards because either the ball was thrown poorly. Either way, they just don't catch the football. But thinking about Gabe Davis in those roles, getting those air yards and knowing how he's like the ways that he can score touchdowns, long touchdowns, like high fantasy scoring touchdowns. Yeah, Gabe Davis, I'm going to continue to click him really hard. That's another guy who's falling kind of hard. Christian Kirk. Like, Brian Thomas is not rising in ADP as fast as Christian Kirk is falling. 58? This guy was going in the 40s earlier. Oh, man. Raheem Mostert. So I think he's such a good pick here if I didn't need a wide receiver. We're going to take DeAndre Hopkins. We'll see how far Curtis Samuel falls. And then Jordan Addison, as long as he's suspended at the beginning of the season, I think it's great. If he's there for the playoffs, like, I mean, you're going to be pretty thrilled to have him. Good pick. Jaden Fry, pick 90. Jalen Warren, yeah. I was going to say Jalen Warren's going to fall. And then Jonathan Brooks, dude, I got him at pick 150 on DK the other night. That out tag is just so powerful. And it's like, we knew he was not going to play in the beginning of the season, all off season. And people, like, this news shouldn't really affect his ADP. Yeah, we got confirmation, but we already kind of knew that. And Underdog is sharp. Underdog drafters are sharp. You see his ADP is not falling at all. It's still at 97. But again, if he's there for the playoffs, then you're probably pretty happy to have him. He might be Brees Hall. Jalen Warren at 93. Yeah, I'm still pretty okay clicking him. If I need that running back, it's a good click here. Paired up Kyler with Trey McBride out of the 4 spot. It's not bad. Damn, Joe Burrow at 68, unstacked. Mduka. Yeah, this is some of the stuff that I love seeing from non-Badgers. It's just it's not optimal. If you happen to be watching this stream, Mduka, it just you can take Brock Purdy to pair with Brandon Ayuk, Deshaun Watson late, Jordan Love if you knew you were going to get Christian Watson in the next round. And then Sam Darnold's a pretty good pick in BBM just because he's drafted on a lower percentage of teams. And so the chances he goes off are pretty slim, but it is good leverage if he happens to be good. And just being able to pass a ball to Justin Jefferson should get you some kind of stats, right? Especially with a quarterback like Joe Burrow, it's kind of hard to backstack him. You can get, Zach Moss, Chase Brown. And then I guess you're going to play the guessing game between Yoshavas and Jermaine Burton. Could go for Gesicki at tight end. So there are options to backstack Joe Burrow, but I'm typically only going to take him naked when he falls like 15, 20 spots past ADP, which I've seen a few times, and I've taken him there. Because if Joe Burrow's good, he's top 5 in the NFL. And just stay healthy. All right, well, I really hope one of these guys takes Jordan Love so I don't feel bad about taking Caleb Williams over him. I mentioned this before. Before the preseason started, before we saw Caleb Williams get reps in these NFL games, I question. I question the talent. I guess this is so gross to take Caleb Williams over known commodities Jordan Love and Dak. Where did Roma Dunze go? It's the guy next to me. He already has Lamar. It's like this team kind of depends on Caleb Williams being good because I took 2 Chicago receivers. So just missing out on Caleb would really suck. What I'd like ideally, I would take Jordan Love. Yeah, I'll take Jordan Love. So this guy probably would have taken Caleb, but if I got Jordan Love here, don't mind double tapping Caleb the next round and then just be done at quarterback and then can continue hammering some receivers. There's 3 tight end combos I don't mind towards the end of the draft. It looks like we are going to be punting tight end unless I can get Dalton Schultz at we'll see with my 11th round pick at 128 what the board looks like. Dalton Schultz goes at 133. And so he usually feels like a pretty good click. Me and Chris have talked about this. All the other pieces of the Houston offense are so expensive, and you could make the argument against Dalton Schultz that it's such a crowded room. How's he going to get touches? But I look at it as just this is a really good offense, expected to score a lot of points, and this is the cheapest piece who's going to be on the field for most snaps. Dalton Schultz is a great pick in this range. Especially, I don't think we lost Cole Kmet, but I'm waiting for his ADP to drop a little bit since it looks like he's going to be splitting reps with Gerald Everett. I mean, the thing with Cole Kmet is he can still catch long touchdowns, so I still like taking shots on him. Not for this team because I'm already double stacked with Caleb. Don't mind hitting the triple stack if I get Khalil Herbert late, though. Dallas Goedert, I think, is a really good pick in this range, but week 17 correlation with Tyler Lockett. Yeah, we're going to go for it. If I didn't have the correlation with Tyler Lockett, I probably would have just gone for Jacoby Myers on this team. Kind of have some worries that Tyler Lockett's going to get supplanted by JSN. We got 136 through 10 rounds. It's not bad. We have a quarterback who's going to start all season. Hopefully, he's good at football. So what I was saying was, I don't know. The only 2 games I watched him play in college were his 2 worst games, as far as I understand. And so my impression of Caleb Williams was not good. He had a couple highlight plays in the snaps that he played in the preseason game, but I don't know. I don't want to read too much into it. Kind of feel the same way a little bit with Drake May. Like Drake May looked good, but I'm pretty sure we got confirmation he's not starting week 1. He could be good for like week 17. I guess he's competing. All right. Come on, Jacoby. Well, either way, Just don't buy too much into from a few highlights in the preseason because the overall stats were okay. Like they were good, they weren't bad, but just highlight plays are highlight plays. If you watched only highlight plays to make your picks, you might think George Pickens is best wide receiver in the NFL. He's not. Rico Dowdle ahead of Ezekiel Elliott. I love Zeke. If Rico Dowdle was a better football player, I'd have a lot more interest and I'd be willing to flip it. Kind of the same with me, Chase Brown and Zach Moss. I just think Zach Moss is so much better for this Bengals team than Chase Brown. And 20 picks after, yeah, give me Zach Moss. And it wasn't like this all summer. This kind of just changed now, but taking Zeke later, maybe if I get Zeke at 137 on a early Rashi Rice team, that helps make up for it a little bit too. We got DeAndre Hopkins late. We got Alvin Kamara past ADP. We probably have a unique double stack with the Chicago guys, unique RB start. So yeah, I think I have enough going on here that I didn't give up too much by reaching for my favorite wide receiver in the NFL. Changes from week to week, if you guys didn't know. Adonai Mitchell, I would love to get some shares of, but he's going too early for me now. I was pretty high on Josh Downs. It sucks for Josh Downs to get hurt. I'm just going to reach for Dalton Schultz by 6 picks here. Another guy that's kind of tough to take naked, but I don't mind it if I don't have a quarterback yet, Tua. I mean, Jalen Wright's been a pretty heavy target of mine recently. I'm up to 14%. Jonnu Smith, kind of worried about Jonnu splitting snaps with Durham Smythe. Some of the, I guess, playing time. I don't know what you want to call it, the snap share that we saw in the preseason when the starters were on the field. Yeah. This was 19 days ago, but I'm pretty sure we saw it this past weekend too. I'm not going to be out on Jonnu. I already have a bunch, and he goes super duper late because the whole point of Jonnu Smith is he's going to catch long touchdowns, right? And so he can do that on less snaps. It seems like a fine wide receiver 3. Not really going to draft Durham Smythe. I think we tried that last year. I remember last year I got on Durham Smythe kind of late on the summer, and I got sniped on him one time, and I'm like, what are we even doing anymore? How did I get sniped on Durham Smythe? This guy's going to score 6 fantasy points this season. And what did he score? 16? Wasn't too far off. Josh Downs at 135. The reason I don't like this is, it could be okay. I'd rather wait to get him at like 150 though. Double tapping with Pat Fryermuth here is not bad. Ty Chandler's pretty good 0 RB guy, but I don't need him yet. Just Pat Fryermuth. TJ Hawkinson with that pretty cool playoff correlation. Actually, no, we can't. We'll take Fryermuth. That's fine. It's just, this is so tempting, but it's tough to take Hawkinson over Fryermuth. And then I'm thinking maybe if Hawkinson falls to, what is that going to be, like pick 150, 151. Do I want to triple tap tight end? I don't think I've ever done that this early. Not 3 in a row anyway. So I'll have 5 picks left. Let's see what my playoff correlation looks like. I think I'm pretty good. Oh, no, we're not good. Well, we have our quarterback pretty well correlated, I guess. We have Tyler Lockett. Then we have Rashi Rice versus Pat Fryermuth. Doesn't really do anything for me. We'll see if there's any meaningful Week 17 stacks we can make here. No, this guy took Hawkinson at 141. I don't mind it. Justin Herzig took Hawkinson pretty close to ADP yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And Herzig knows his stuff, so. Coming around on Darnell Mooney. Mentioned yesterday, Jahan Dotson. It looks like he's going to be the wide receiver too after we were kind of worried. But again, it's just, what are we hoping happens when we draft him? I'll get my Washington exposure through McLaurin and Brian Robinson. And then I'm interested in Austin Eckler, but he doesn't fall enough when I want to take him. Where'd he go today? 125? Yeah, this is probably the range I'm okay taking him, I guess, around 130. It's hard for me to think that he's going to fail this ADP pretty hard, where some of these other guys could definitely fail their ADPs. Like Blake Corum could just not play that much. Gus Edwards could be the RB2. Maybe J.K. Dobbins is the man. Rico Dowdle could still not be good at football. I'd like to do only one more quarterback. I don't love doing. I might have to do it here though. Aaron Rodgers with Brees Hall. You doing that, Jets? Because I think I took Malachi Corley in my in the stream I did yesterday. I actually don't hate it. This guy's probably. I think he's my highest on tight end now. Tyler Conklin. This is your number 2 option. I guess number 3 option after Brees Hall in the or after Garrett Wilson's number 2 in the Jets offense. Jaleel McLaughlin for this team. I still don't know if that's the kind of running back I want because I think Jaleel plays, but if Javonte gets hurt, I don't think Jaleel's the workhorse. I think it or gets the starter reps anyway. I think it's still a Steve and Jaleel's role remains largely the same. It was pretty positive. He was playing. It's just the snaps that he played. He played some third downs, or he played at least one third down. Maybe it was third down and goal line situations, which for this Denver offense has got to be super valuable. So Jaleel McLaughlin, I kind of came off him a little bit, but it's because I already had a bunch. The confirmation we got from the preseason usage, it's useful information. So pretty happy to take Jaleel McLaughlin. It just depends on the kind of team you have. Like I don't think Jaleel helps this team, but on 0 RB teams where, in the first few weeks of the season, 10, 11 points can really help. Where here, 10, 11 points is never cracking the lineup because Brees Hall, his worst game is going to be more than 11 points. So rather just take moonshots for the end of the season. If something happens to Brees Hall, well, guess what? We got Justice Hill stepping up, starting running back, going against the Houston Texans in Week 17. Let's see what we're doing here. I don't like any of these receivers. I'm okay with Thielen. Guess I'm over the field on him. Pearsall? Oh, I have 1%. Yeah, that 5% scared me. 1% Pearsall, and I bet half of it was like misclicks. No, I would actually take Cole Kmet here if I didn't have the plan to take. Wait. Oh. Missed that one. Would have just taken Cole Kmet, actually. Tyler Conklin came off the board. Whoops. Tenley? Tyler Conklin at 155? I mean, I was going to take him at 161, but kind of disappointing. I like this combo, though. Been adding more Isaiah Likely. He could just be on the field, even with Mark Andrews. Sounds like he's starting. He didn't play in preseason, so you got like your solid floor guy Conklin, give you some points, and then Isaiah Likely, boomer bust kind of. Don't want to go a third quarterback here. Tennessee, who's my Tennessee player? DeAndre Hopkins, Will Levis. Who's my Pittsburgh player? Oh, Freiermuth. Could add Justin Fields or Will Levis to this team. Rodgers, Conklin should feast over the middle. Yeah, dude. I'm thinking I'm pretty sure I've seen the reports this year, but I'm thinking back to last year, the reports about Rodgers' connection with Conklin in training camp and in practice. I'm pretty sure Conklin was my highest exposed tight end last year too, and it looks like he's going to be this year. Like I said, he's the third target earner on this team, right? After Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson. Maybe Mike Williams is good, but Conklin, it just feels like such a safe tight end. He's going a little earlier than I'd like though. 155. I feel like he should be going back here. What are we doing here, Jets? How are we correlating Aaron Rodgers? I have Brees Hall. It's not a disaster if I don't get another Jets piece, but I kind of do want another Jets piece, especially if I don't get another quarterback. It's like, I wonder if I could just go 2 tight end. Might be okay at tight end with these two. Then I can go 3 quarterback, 5 running back, and then however many receivers that is. Corley, I know you mentioned you like pairing Lazard with Aaron Rodgers. Could go Lazard or Corley, I guess. Probably gonna go Corley. Yeah. So no more tight ends. 4 picks left. Do I take a third quarterback? I mean, if I'm stopping at 2 tight ends, Justin Fields, Derek Carr. I saw someone putting down Derek Carr on Twitter earlier. Something about just implying if you're drafting Derek Carr, you're not a smart man, smart person. But I'm drafting a bunch of Derek Carr. Guess I have 7%. Don't mind him though. Aaron Rodgers, Caleb Williams. We go for the moonshot. We'll go for the moonshot. That's fine. I only have a few BBMs left, so don't mind just reaching a little bit for my guy. Probably would have been there at 185, but I don't. I mean, I didn't look, but I don't think there was anyone else I really wanted in this range. Started to get on Marvin Mims, but this dude might be dust. Marcus Robinson. He probably should still be the number 3 guy, as much Whittington as I've been drafting. Jordan Whittington. I'm up to 6%. That's kind of significant because I didn't know who this guy was a couple weeks ago. So I'm drafting him a lot. I guess I've been taking a lot of Matthew Stafford recently too, though. So it's really easy to just tack this guy on in the last round. I'm kind of sick of all my other last round picks anyway, like Noah Brown, KJ Osborne, Kendrick Bourne, the rookie on Miami. I guess I only have 1% here. Bo Melton, 6%. But it's like this guy's a 5th receiver. He has to get on the field. If he does, though, it's pretty strong. A.T. Perry, high A dot guy. Parker Washington, I feel like I still don't hate it. I think I got talked out of it before, but he filled in. He did okay in a couple games last season. He's a young guy. I don't mind taking Parker Washington, especially there's been times where I take Trevor Lawrence and I'm not able to stack him with Gabe Davis. There's not really any other stack partners unless you want to take Tank Bigsby. So I don't mind Parker Washington, especially as some correlation. I doubt I'd do it here today, but Justin Watson, I don't hate from Kansas City, especially if you have a naked Mahomes. Trey Tucker, another guy on the Raiders. He was one of the top plays from Occupy Fantasy's preseason plug this past week, and pretty sure he worked out. I guess we'll take Corley. All right. 2 BBMs in a row. I took Malachi Corley. It's not great. I know I'm not taking Brendan Rice today, though. I'm probably not going to take Brendan Rice anymore at all. I forgot that I have a few shares from the first few BBMs I did. This is so disgusting. Caleb Williams, Aaron Rodgers. So we got a rookie. His first pick could be generational, could be there's no way he's as bad as Bryce Young. Aaron Rodgers, old, possibly fragile. Justin Fields, not even starting. This is how you win BBM though. Hit on Justin Fields, right? Oh, can't go for running back, unfortunately. I mean, I could. This would be this team to do it, but we're still going to draft a 5th guy. Pretty sure I know who I'm taking too. Carson Steele. I said it on stream too, dude. Generic Prince. Every single year, people get tricked by him. We saw Carson Steele play a lot of reps with the starters. So I don't know. Could be just seeing if they have something. It could mean that he is second in line if something happens to Pacheco. I didn't even know Keontae Ingram was on the Chiefs. Well, it looks like he's going to be on the team, so probably not going to do it in Underdog unless we get some more information on that. But in like 20 round drafts on the other sites, that seems fine. I'll probably add him a few times since I have everyone else back here anyway. So I got 2 more picks. I don't like this team. It's just so tough when you start running back to make it work. Like the top of my wide receivers aren't awful, but then you scroll down and it's all right. I'm gonna hope that the running back I want is still there in the next round. So we can take Jordan Whittington. Another way to combat, not that I needed another way, but say Whittington pays off. 0% of early Rashi Rice teams have Whittington for sure. Tim Patrick, another guy who could be the wide receiver two in Denver. We weren't sure who was going to be behind Cortland Sutton. It looks like their starters are going to be Tim Patrick and Josh Reynolds. Don't mind Josh Reynolds. Again, I question the ceiling. Mentioned this yesterday. He's like Khalif Raymond. Stop taking Khalif Raymond. I don't know why I went so nuts with him, but I'm probably never going to click on him again. I have enough. Jordan Whittington's fine. Roman Wilson took some shots. Javon Baker was not drafting at all, but just took a couple shots on him. And just New England, I kind of got off Ramondre a little bit, except when he falls or everyone else is taken. It's just how many touchdowns is this team realistically going to score this season? The Patriots might be like, I don't know if they could be historically awful, but it could be bad. And if these guys aren't scoring touchdowns, they're not scoring any points on Underdog. They're not helping you do anything. So kind of scares me how much New England I have, but I mean, they're cheap for a reason and they could not be awful, but they're probably going to be awful. Four running backs? Hmm. Wonder if I'm okay with. No, I got to go for a fifth running back. This is my last pick, right? We got the 3582. See what the Discord has to say about this. Should I go ninth receiver? Madison is my guy right now. If I wasn't sick of all these other receivers, maybe I'd probably just take a receiver. But I mentioned this earlier, like I'm fading Zamir White very hard. Someone's going to run the ball for this Vegas team because it's like if Zamir White is just a starter and getting the work, even if he's bad, that's still worth fantasy points. I'm completely fading him. It's going way too early. No interest. Pretty sure all of Occupy is off of him. But so on the other sides, I'm definitely in double digits with Madison, and then I have a little bit of Laube too. But that's another spot where, similar to me fading the Bills, like the Bills starting running back, I'm fading the Raiders starting running back. Uh, I am taking a bunch of the Raiders receivers, I guess, so that kind of makes up for it. But anyways, appreciate you guys for watching the stream. Just in case you made it to the end and you are still not signed up for Underdog Fantasy, use a promo code Occupy2 for your first deposit. They'll match your deposit up to $1,000. Yeah, pretty big bonus right now leading up to a NFL season. Literally the best promotion I've ever heard of in the fantasy industry. So get on there, join the Discord, and we'll see you guys. I'll be on with Chris tomorrow. So catch you guys then. Thanks.